Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, devotees. Today we are celebrating His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ISKCON Founder Acharya, his appearance day. And usually it is a half-day board celebration. Today we have extended Janmashtami program as well. So what we will be doing here is one devotee will be reading the meaning of Vyasa Puja, and followed by some of us reading our GBC's offering or their Guru Maharaja's offering, like that. And then we may have a short time for all of you to express your appreciation for Srila Prabhupada, but we have only limited time, so that will be pretty short, even though this is a very exhilarating experience for us to do that. Oh, there is somebody. And Prabhu's Radha Govinda Maharaj, right? So you will read Radha Govinda Maharaj's offerings also. Yeah. So Satarupa will be reading the meaning of Vyasa Puja. If everybody can settle down and please be seated, that will be great. And then we will be making an offering for Srila Prabhupada, followed by worship of Srila Prabhupada and prasadam for everyone who is here. Thank you. Okay.
There will be a lot of transactions. I will keep them moved. You can explain. Yeah.
The meaning of Vyasa Puja. Vyasa Puja is an offering of our gratitude to Srila Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of the Lord, and the whole disciplic succession from Lord Krishna to Brahma to Narada to Vyasa and right down to the present day. The procedure for offering gratitude to Srila Vyasadeva is to honor his foremost representative, the spiritual master, on his appearance day. Thus, in today's International Society for Krishna Consciousness, with many initiating spiritual masters, Vyasa Puja is observed by their disciples on many days throughout the year. But the one Vyasa Puja that all ISKCON members observe is the appearance anniversary of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of ISKCON and the main instructing spiritual master for all ISKCON members now and forevermore. When Srila Vyasadeva received knowledge from his spiritual master, Narada Muni, he decided to organize it into 4 Vedas. Vyasadeva could see that in the future, with the arrival of Kali Yuga, most of society would be unable to remember the Vedic mantras just from hearing them. So, he had them written down, divided into 4, and entrusted to his leading disciples. Then he wrote the Puranas, minus the Srimad Bhagavatam, to explain the Vedas, and the Mahabharata for the less intelligent masses. Then he wrote the Vedanta Sutra, a summary of all Vedic literature. Although Vyasa thus engaged himself in welfare work for all people, he still felt dissatisfied. In the purport to Srimad Bhagavatam 1.430, Srila Prabhupada states, Srila Vyasadeva appeared to have lost the clue and therefore felt dissatisfaction. At this critical time, the spiritual master Narada Muni came to him and explained the cause of Vyasadeva's dissatisfaction. You have hardly broadcast the sublime and spotless glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That philosophy which does not satisfy the transcendental senses of the Lord is considered worthless. Although, great sage, you have very broadly described the four principles beginning with religious performances. You have not described to such an extent the glories of the Supreme Personality, Vasudeva, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.8-9. And then the next two verses, Nayadvachas Chitrapadam Hare Yasho, Jagat Pavitram Praganita Kadachi, Tadvayasam Tirtha Mushanti Manasa, Nayatra Hamsa Niramanti Sikshaya. Those words which do not describe the glories of the Lord, who alone can sanctify the atmosphere of the whole universe, are considered by saintly persons to be like unto a place of pilgrimage for crows. Since the all-perfect persons are inhabitants of the transcendental abode, they do not derive any pleasure there. Tadva visargo janataka viplavo yasmin pratishlokam abhaddavatyati namanyanantasya yashonkitaniya shrinmanti gayanti grinanti sadavaha. On the other hand, that literature which is full of descriptions of the transcendental glories of the name, fame, forms, and pastimes, etc., of the unlimited Supreme Lord is a different creation, full of transcendental words, directed toward bringing about a revolution in the impious lives of this world's misdirected civilization. Such transcendental literatures, even though imperfectly composed, are heard, sung, and accepted by purified men who are thoroughly honest. After thus being advised by Narada, Srila Vyasadeva wrote Srimad Bhagavatam, the ripened fruit of all Vedic literature, for the welfare of the whole human society. This knowledge has been carefully passed down through the chain of disciplic succession to the present day, and I believe that all of us who have seriously heard, studied, and worshipped the Bhagavatam have experienced a revolution in our impious lives. Therefore, we set aside this wonderful day for worshipping Srila Vyasadeva and our parampara by worshipping Vyasa's most glorious modern representative, Srila Prabhupada. On the order of his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada brought the knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the teachings of the six Goswamis, and the Lord's holy name to the whole world. His mission was to save the fallen souls in the Western countries and throughout the world by spreading this knowledge. What an inconceivably priceless gift! How can we ever begin to repay him for opening our tightly closed eyes? Vyasa Puja is not just an offering of flowers and praise to Srila Prabhupada, but an offering of our very lives. Srila Prahlad Maharaj captured the mood of a true disciple in his prayer to Lord Nrsimhadev, Bhagavatam 7.9.28. Evam janam vipatitam prabhavani kupe kama vikamam anuya prapatam prasanga kritvatmasat surasina bhagavan grihitaha soham katam nu vijuje tava bhritya sevam. My dear Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of my association with material desires, one after another, I was gradually falling into a blind well full of snakes, following the general populace. But your servant Narada Muni kindly accepted me as his disciple and instructed me how to achieve this transcendental position. Therefore, my first duty is to serve him. How could I ever leave his service? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, while teaching Srila Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij One can achieve the seed of devotional service by the mercy of the Guru, the spiritual master, and then by the mercy of Krishna. This is the secret of success. First, one should try to please the spiritual master, and then one should attempt to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna himself says in the Bhagavad Gita 18:55 that only by devotional service can I be understood in truth. Srila Prabhupada afforded this supreme opportunity to all people of the world, making karma, guru, self-realization, kirtan, etc. household words. So many people have become interested in yoga, kirtan, a vegetarian diet, and reading Bhagavad Gita due to Prabhupada's efforts. Who could have foreseen this revolution in consciousness? Srila Prabhupada did. In 1965, when he was still alone in New York City, he met a Mr. Rubin, a subway conductor sitting on a park bench. They struck up a conversation, and Srila Prabhupada explained that there are temples and books. They are there, but the time is separating us from them. He had an absolute conviction that he would succeed because he was faithfully representing his Guru Maharaj, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the whole Parampara. In 1966, with just a few followers and a handful of disciples, he decided to incorporate the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. International? He had only one center in New York. Yet, Srila Prabhupada's conviction was unshakable. He could see temples and disciples all over the world. Only time separated him from them. In the Articles of Incorporation, Srila Prabhupada wrote 7 purposes of ISKCON. 1. To systematically propagate spiritual knowledge to society at large and to educate all peoples in the techniques of spiritual life in order to check the imbalance of values in life and to achieve real unity and peace in the world. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, he saw that the people lacked any understanding of genuine spiritual knowledge. What to speak of the tools and techniques for realizing that knowledge? Srila Prabhupada made it his mission to provide both. Just as Srila Vyasadeva wrote the Mahabharata to train and educate the less intelligent class in spiritual understanding. Number 2, to propagate a consciousness of Krishna as it is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Number 3, to bring the members of the society together with each other and nearer to Krishna, the prime entity, and thus to develop the idea within the members and humanity at large that each soul is part and parcel of the quality of Godhead, Krishna. This education is in keeping with the mission of our parampara. Srila Vyasadeva, on the order of his spiritual master Narada Muni, spent his life making the Vedic literature available in Sanskrit. And Srila Prabhupada, on the order of his spiritual master, made the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and other essential Vedic literatures available in English and many other languages. Number 4, to teach and encourage the Sankirtan movement, the congregational chanting of the holy names of God as revealed in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Krishna came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to break open the storehouse of love of God in this dark age of Kali. And he predicted that in every town and village of the world, his names would be chanted. Srila Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya's Senapati Bhakta, the commander-in-chief of his army of devotees, fulfilled Lord Chaitanya's prediction in a mere 11 years of worldwide preaching after founding ISKCON in July of 1966. Number 5, to erect for the members and for the society at large a holy place of transcendental pastimes dedicated to the personality of Krishna. Number 6, to bring the members closer together for the purpose of teaching a simpler and more natural way of life. Number 7, with a view towards achieving the aforementioned purposes, to publish and distribute periodicals, magazines, books, and other writings. This is Srila Prabhupada's unique vision of how to organize an institution whose mission is to impart transcendental knowledge and thus create a cultural revolution for the benefit of the society. This mission is the very essence of a parampara. Without changing the transcendental message, each acharya adapts it for the time, the place, and the audience that will receive it. We understand that Srila Prabhupada is a bona fide representative of Vyasadeva because Prabhupada embodies the teachings of Vyasadeva and explains Srimad Bhagavatam in a way that others can understand it, so that everyone can take advantage of this knowledge and go back to Godhead. I personally experienced, along with thousands of others, how my life has been transformed and saved by following Srila Prabhupada's instructions, chanting 16 rounds a day, adhering to the 4 regular principles, and regularly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the nectar of devotion, and so on. Not only have we been given this amazing philosophy, but we have been given a whole way of life, a cultural revolution. Vyasa Puja is my favorite day of the year. It's so wonderful. Every morning throughout the year, we offer our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada, going down, offering prayers, and thanking His divine grace for saving us. But on Vyasa Puja day, we are given the opportunity to dive deeper into understanding what we are grateful for and to express our gratitude more fully. To hear others share their realizations and express their gratitude to Prabhupada never fails to open my eyes to even more reasons why I should feel indebted. Just as Kirtan is more relishable when lots of devotees raise their voices and sincerely chant together, calling out the Lord's holy names, so Vyasa Puja Day is most relishable and blessed day of the year because we spend it with many devotees glorifying Srila Prabhupada and revealing our deepest feelings towards Him. We all come together to glorify the pure devotee who brought Srila Vyasadeva's message to the West and planted the Bhaktilata Beej in our hearts. We should all take advantage of this Vyasa Puja Day to rededicate ourselves to Srila Prabhupada and his great mission with our life and soul. Written by Ruchira Devidasi, Alachua, Florida.
Srila Prabhupada ki. So, I will read the offering written by His Grace Anuttamadas Prabhu, who is our governing body commissioner. Dear Srila Prabhupada, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Please accept my humble obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. This year, in which we celebrate the 75th anniversary of your launching Back to Godhead magazine, the editors actually chose to reprint the opening article you wrote in 1944 for the first issue ever published entitled Back to Godhead. I was stunned, pleased, and inspired by your words. They evoke in me a deeper sense of how fortunate I am to be your follower, student, and disciple. How proud I am to have a master as capable as you to guide me, protect me, and engage me in your service. Your words were so relevant for those war-torn years. And how relevant are those same words today, a time of seemingly endless war? War between nations, war between religions, war between genders, and war between humanity and earth itself. Most might expect the inaugural edition of your magazine to be a time to draw the line, so to speak, to define who we are as Chaitanya Vaishnavas, in sharp contrast to other traditions of the world, and to focus exclusively on your unique identity and message. Yet you chose a different path. You chose for your readers a different path. You continue to inspire me to walk a different path. Appropriately, in that inaugural article, you glorify and refer several times to your Divine Master, Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, and his mission. You also introduce Lord Chaitanya, the Godhead incarnate. Yet surprisingly, in explaining the purpose of your new journal, to bring up a real relation of humanity with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You also quote not one or two, but 11 religious leaders, political leaders, and leading philosophers of the day, who are all outside the Vaishnava tradition. What is more, you don't just mention these leaders of all countries, as you call them, you give them extensive and precious space in your nascent publication, allowing some to wax on for paragraphs, despite the government-imposed restriction on the paper. You quote the Metropolitan Bishop of India, the President of the United States, Herbert Hoover, the former President of the United States, Sir Stanford Cripps, the Lord Privy Seal of Britain, Mr. Wendell Willkie, an American political leader, a Foreign Secretary of Britain, Mr. Anthony Eden, the Archbishop of Canterbury, unnamed, Sir Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, the great Hindu philosopher, a joint affirmation of 236 members of the British House of Commons, and more. It is stunning, intriguing, informative, and exemplary that you quote these personalities, especially in the inaugural edition of your publication. Why do you do so? I can never fully understand your strategies, but some identifiable reasons stand out. First, it is significant that as a preacher, author, and ISKCON's future founder Acharya, you were aware of the influential global voices of the time. As early as 1944, you demonstrated that to engage with the world effectively, we must not be isolated or unaware of the events and significant of opinions around us. You continued this strategy in 1959 with your first published book, Easy Journey to Other Planets, which capitalized on the global interest in space travel. Second, you chose to use the words of these leaders to validate your message, Lord Chaitanya's message. In New York City, drums would be passed out on the staircase and thus blocking the entrance to his small room on the Bowery. Srila Prabhupada kindly noted. They would sometimes call out to each other saying, "Here comes Swami," and then roll to the side, thus allowing me to pass in this way. They were offering their respects. On a far more dangerous level, he was chased out of his shared living space by his roommate, who had become crazy by LSD and was now wielding a knife and babbling incoherent threats. Oh, sorry. Moved this one also. This is the same methodology you employed years later when you directed the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust to include endorsements of academics, philosophers, and other influencers of the world in your books. Third, you recognize that influential people share a similar mission, or at least elements of a shared vision of human progress beyond the dictates of gross materialists, You continued in the same spirit years later. Wherever you traveled, you directed your disciples to arrange meetings with political leaders, religious leaders, academics, industrialists, artists, media figures, and even neighbors to promote common purpose and understanding. Fourth, you knew your movement would benefit by working in conjunction with such leaders. You reasoned with their messages, and in fact, you published and promoted their messages, including these. India, guided by God, can lead the world back to sanity. And the world needs today to return to sanity, the moral, spiritual ideals. And your plans will come to shipwreck on the rock of human selfishness unless we turn to God, back to Godhead. That is the chief need of England and every nation. You even noted that you found inspiration from those leaders. You wrote, these psychological movements of the leaders of all countries, combined with the order of my divine master, have led me to venture to start a paper under the above name and style, Back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, you are the singular great messenger of Bhakti and going back to Godhead for this age. Please bless me and all your followers with broad-mindedness and the ability to appreciate and partner with others as you so beautifully demonstrated in this historic article. Prabhupada, please protect us from the narrow-mindedness and divisiveness that so pollute the world today. Let us not be swept away by ignorance, selfishness, or pride, sometimes thinking that we are God's sole agents, failing to comprehend the vast plan of the Lord. As your first Back to Godhead article concluded, Godhead is one without a second, and there is no bar for anyone in the world, irrespective of color, creed, or nationality, to go back to Godhead. Srila Prabhupada, please empower us, your humble servants, to carry forward this great mission of love and redemption. Let us remain fascinated and inspired by your boundless compassion, remembering that all souls are Lord's servants and that there is no bar for anyone in the world to go back to home, back to Godhead. Your aspiring servant, Anuttama Das. So this was the offering written by our GBC Governing Body Commissioner, Anuttama Das Prabhu. Just I will say, add just a couple of words. So we are sitting here in this Naperville Center, one of the many centers that Prabhupada envisioned will open one day. And as it was written in the Vyasa Puja offering, it was stated there that it was time alone that separated from manifestation of these centers. But one thing is for sure, we have to follow the teachings given by Srila Prabhupada. The importance of spiritual master, the importance of guidance from Srila Prabhupada and the discipling succession, our own spiritual master. These are all very important things that we have to constantly remind ourselves if we are to be empowered to make even a small little offering to their lordships. We cannot do it on our own, and therefore we glorify our spiritual masters and we glorify Srila Prabhupada every single day of our life. That's the purpose behind that. So with that, I'm going to call, I think, Jaipadika Maharaj's offering, and Rupanuga Krishna Prabhu will be reading that.
Hare Krishna. Now I am reading the offering of our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Jai Maharaj Maharaj, for Srila Prabhupada. My dear spiritual father, Srila Abhay Charan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances. Namo Vishnu Pada, Vishnu Sispai, Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namo. Namaste Saraswate Devi Bhagavani Pracharane, Nirvisheshe Shri Chandradesh. On your Vyasa Puja, I would like to offer you my humble homage. You have blessed me with your divine association and taken me up from the pool of material conditioned life, the ocean of abundance. You have given me the holy Dharma of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Many other countless blessings too. You have given me many institutions, instructions to fulfill for realizing your mercy on the world. You could have stayed in Vrindavan and gotten your spiritual emancipation, but you accepted great risk and austerity to carry out the order of your spiritual master to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world. I was blind, thinking that serving my senses was the goal of life, but you showed me how serving Sri Radha Madhava, Sri Jagannatha, Baladeva and Subhadra, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the actual purpose of life, and that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is my only shelter. In this way, you gave real meaning to my life and enabled me to taste real happiness for the first time. For the last 12 years, I have had my health challenges. I was trying to carry out your instructions despite these challenges, but in early 2018, the doctors told me that unless I had a liver and kidney transplant within 3 to 5 months, I would reach to a point of no return and would leave my body. So wanting to try to fulfill some more of your instructions, in the later part of last year, I got a liver and kidney transplant, and by the time of your Vyasa Puja this year, 1 year will have passed. I would like to see Sri Radha Madhava, the Ashtasakis, Mayapur Chandra, the Panchatattva, and the Prahlad Narasimha Deva established in the new temple of the Vedic planetarium. I would like to see the Vedic planetarium up and running. Also, you instructed me to develop the Navadvip Mandala Parikrama and the Gaur Mandala Bhumi and facilitate the unification in some form or other of this discipline succession. You also wanted me to expand the outreach of Krishna consciousness unlimitedly by establishing and expanding the congregation of preaching in ISKCON while seeing to the mass distribution of your transcendental literaries. You wanted me to guide and care for the disciples you have sent me so that they can be useful in spreading your message and achieve success in their lives. You said that I should stay in Mayapur and work through my assistants, and later you said that I should also travel around the world since that is the duty of all sannyasis. But now my travel days are challenging. And there were many other things you expected me to do. You once said to me, I have given you the spiritual word, so now you develop it. When just 5 devotees in Mayapur, you said that eventually we would have a city of 50,000 devotees. Right now, we have over 5,000, so gradually your prediction is taking shape. I have written several memories, but the more I write, the more I remember. Also, I'm trying to write the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. They are recounted in various books. Of course, there is no limit to his pastimes, but at least I want to give some more extended experience of how wonderful Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are and their associates are. You have given yourself to all of us and given the Vani of Lord Chaitanya. I appreciate how you have engaged me in his service and thus kept me away from the clutches of the illusory energy. So on this sacred day, commemorating your appearance, known as Nanda Mahotsava, the day after Janmashtami, I beg your continued mercy and glorify you for the unlimited mercy you have showered upon us all. All glories to your delights. Your insignificant disciple, Janmashtami.
Now we have His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj's offering led by Mohan Leela Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. This is an offering by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept my heartfelt obeisances. This year, we are grateful to present to you a very special offering. For the first time since 1930, devotees have been entrusted with the full care of the rooftop terrace on the number 1 Uttadanga Junction Road in Calcutta. The divine pastime took place here in 1922 is our very life and soul. It was here that you first met your eternal Guru Maharaj, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. At the commencement of that first meeting, a seed was planted in your heart. Your Guru Maharaj instructed you to spread the love of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu throughout the world in the English language. The seed of this instruction germinated in your heart for 43 years. Then, in 1965, it sprouted as you left India on a cargo ship, the MV Jaladuta. You told us that when you arrived in New York City, you had nothing except a crate of your translations of Srimad Bhagavatam and this instruction of your Guru Maharaj. Soon, the seed grew into a glorious desire tree with hundreds of branches around the world and millions of flowers in the form of your loving devotees. These flowers have distributed hundreds and millions of same seeds in the form of your books, Harinam Sankirtan, Prasad distribution, and numerous other outreach activities. In 1922, the house on the Uttadanga was called Bhakti Vinodi Ashana. It was the place where your Guru Maharaj began the outreach of his Gaudiya Mata. In the March of this year, we acquired this historic but sadly neglected property. Days after, I sat on the rooftop terrace, and in my heart's meditation, I could almost see, hear, and feel your interaction with your Guru Maharaja. An exchange that would fulfill the prophecy of Sri Bhagavad Chaitanya and would forever change the world. I am praying that the devotees from all over the world will come here to have this experience. On many occasions, you have spoke about this pastime. Quotes, I was always very happy to be defeated by my Guru Maharaj. At that moment, I accepted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as my eternal master. I took this order of my Guru Maharaj as my life and soul. My only qualification is that I have tried to carry out the instruction of my Guru Maharaj. In 1973, in Los Angeles, on the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, you spoke about this event. The words you spoke at that time have awakened in me a profound appreciation for all my God brothers and God sisters, especially for your beloved Gunagraha Goswami Maharaj, who recently departed in Vrindavan. You revealed your heart to your followers. Quotes, what he desired, I am trying a little bit, and you are all helping me. So I have to thank you more. You are actually the representative of my Guru Maharaj, crying. Because you are helping me to execute the order of my Guru Maharaj, thank you very much. We are hopeful that in 2022, on the 100th anniversary of the historic first meeting with your Guru Maharaj in Calcutta, the temple of the Vedic Planetarium in Sri Mayapur Dham will be inaugurated. It will be an offering of love and gratitude to you by the worldwide community of devotees, with special thanks to Ambarish Prabhu. Dear Srila Prabhupada, the oceans you have crossed to give us Krishna consciousness are like insignificant puddles compared to the timeless oceans of your love for Radha Govinda Deva and your compassion upon all living beings. I pray that it is forever remembered that the only qualification of all your followers for all generations is their deep appreciation for you and your shoreless ocean of compassion. Helplessly praying for your mercy, a servant of your servants, Radhanath Swami.
Thank you so much. I don't need the mic. So Radha Govindan Maharaj's offering is not here. So because of that, we are moving forward. It is always wonderful for all the devotees to express your feelings of gratitude towards Srila Prabhupada also. Today, because of shorter time, we may be able to allow at least 2 or 3 devotees here to speak few words of appreciation for Srila Prabhupada, but 2 to 3 minutes at the most, because we are going to finish the offering soon, and to 12:15 we are starting. Satyarupa's 12:15 we are doing Aarti. Yeah. So who would like to say? Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानज्ञानशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So 3 minutes is just good enough for me. So, joining Srila Prabhupada in 1981 in Los Angeles, which was the headquarters of ISKCON at the time, coming from Trinidad and Tobago, I happened to be in the country. And at a very early start in joining this temple, the very first day, the next day, I was on the street distributing Srila Prabhupada books, which Srila Prabhupada loved best. Because at that time, Mayapur and Vrindavan had to be completed. And from Rameshwar Prabhu, who have still Grihastha life, in Rameshwar group, we was on the street, endlessly, distributing Srila Prabhupada books, because through books, Vrindavan and Mayapur in my time was completed. I mean, of course, there's extensions in temples in Mayapur, but at that time, Vrindavan and Mayapur. And I was very happy to be in Srila Prabhupada movement to help not complete, because no Lakshmi at that time was coming from India. Everything was coming within the United States. So from 1981 to this day, I'm seriously doing Srila Prabhupada service. Hello.
I thought I will, for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, I want to give a small report to him for his happiness. Om Janmashtami Janmashtami Chakshurunmilitam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityaname Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine. Just want to read one paragraph from the introduction of the preface. It was written in every book of Srimad Bhagavatam. It says, we must know that the present need of human society, and what is that need? Human society is no longer bounded by geographical limits to particular country or communities. Human society is broader than in modern Middle Ages, and the world tendency is towards one state or one society. This idea, the ideas of spiritual communism according to Srimad Bhagavatam are based more or less on the oneness of the entire society, nay, of the entire energy of the living beings. The need is felt by great thinkers to make this a successful ideology. Srimad Bhagavatam will fill this need in human society. It begins therefore with the aphorism of Vedanta philosophy, Janmadhyasya Yataha, to establish the ideal of a human common cause. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, on this glorious appearance day occasion, I want to report that for the celebration of Bhadra Purnima coming in next month, September 13, we are doing Yajna, Kalbhagavad Yajna, trying to recite the 18,000 verses as a community from ISKCON Naperville. On this occasion, I want to report that many of the devotees are expressing their happiness. You have mentioned here that Bhagavatam fulfills all of the needs, and particularly the main need of oneness. And just want to offer to you that we are all experiencing your blessings, that the sweetness and then closeness in relationships and all that. And we pray for your continued blessings to receive more of your blessings. Hare Krishna.
One more offering from him. No, it's okay, 2 minutes, you can explain.
Today's church, I was remembering the one of the incident with the Prabhupada, how he had built up this ISKCON and what the mood he had developed over there. So at that time there was no congregation or there was no official ISKCON was there. And at the Bowery, 24 in New York, Prabhupada was there on the storefront, and on the window there is one poster that on Tuesday or Wednesday some program is there. Prabhupada alone cooked the prasadam for every devotees. The devotees came over there. Actually, that they were not actually the devotees also, but they were the devotees. Prabhupada see them. They take classes, then they honor the prasadam, and then they go. And then Prabhupada is doing clean up all that things. So to that extent also, okay, we can understand that things. But one of the incident what that heard that in that. So the Stephen is calling the Prabhupada that Prabhupada, I will be late today program. So please keep up my prasadam plate over there. And Prabhupada for specifically for that devotee, he is preparing the plate and he is keeping aside for him. The program is finished, everybody goes and that devotee came, Prabhupada gave him that prasadam. He eat the prasadam, up to that also it's okay, and then he wash his hand, take some water and then deliver, and Prabhupada is cleaning that plate also. And how happy he was that if he came here at temple, here in this program and he had honored the prasadam, and he have the foresight that today he is doing, but tomorrow he will be join this movement, and in the heart, the Prabhupada is seeing that here the Krishna is carrying the Krishna in the heart. Seeing this one incident I am recalling over there, and today I want to pray to Prabhupada at your feet that may in my heart or in our heart also we build up the same mood, same attitude that, and that's why we can see that ISKCON in every corner or any world you go, you will find that, and that's only the one place we love the devotee, we care the everyone, and that things, and hope so the same quality also we develop and we keep. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The idea is let us stand up.
Yes, so we are just setting up for aarti. If we may request everybody to rise and then fold these mats and put them away. So.
Stand here. You think here is a good place for you to be, so everybody can have it to see? Okay, yes, that's good. Are you chanting?
Hare Krishna. May I have everybody's attention, please? Thank you. So Balram Prasad Prabhu will be leading us in the mantras for Pushpanjali. Please follow and let us all offer our flowers with our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. Right after that, Alright.
Om Agnanaatimirandhasya Ananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriyuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Kamsa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Harijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshavanavi Devi Layitaya Krupabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Ayine Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Dvandadharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Purtaye Vipralambara Sambhode Padambujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanugavarayate Gaura Vidhabha Bhumistvam निर्देष्ट सज्जन प्रिय वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तरूप शक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते एतं सुरतौ पंगो ममनंद पतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्य पदाम्बुजो राधा मदन मोहनौ दिव्या विद्यारण्य कल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नाकर सिंहासन श्रीमद् राधा श्रील गोविंद देवो प्रेस्तालिभिः सेवमानौ स्मरामि श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भी वंशीवटततस्थितः हर्षान्वेणुस्वनैर्गोपैर् गोपीनाथाय श्रीस्तुतः भक्तकंचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे देश पुष्पांजलि
Please keep some of your flowers beneath for the tea time. If you haven't get some flowers, please borrow from your neighbor. Or there is some here near the julep.
विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे वाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे देश पुष्पांजलि नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णाय भूतले भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे पुष्पांजलि Jaya Prabhupada Jaya
Samsaradava nalalidaloka Pranaya karunya Pranaya karunya ghana ghanatvam Prakasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Gurashi Saranarvindam Prakasya kalyana gunanavasya Vande Gurashi Saranarvindam
Prabhu Kirtanantya Gita Vaditra Madhya Manasora Sena Prabhu Kirtanantya Gita Manasora Sena Romanchakam Pashutarangabhagyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Shri Vigrahara Nityamana Shringaratam Mandira Madhyamada Yuktasya bhaktam shaniyam jatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Chaturveda Shri Bhagavat Prasado Svabhagatrita Haribhakta Sangha Chaturveda Shri Bhagavat Prasada Svabhagatrita Haribhakta Sangha Krutvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam Krutvaiva Triptim Bhajata Sadaiva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Shri Radhika
Tirapekshaniya Tati Vallabhasyam Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam
Sakshat Hari Prena Samasta Shastre Ukta Sata Bhavyata Eva Sadhi Kinta Prabhorya Priya Eva Tasya Vande Gurati Yasya Prasada Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhu Nityananda
Swami Boy Raghavendra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Hare Rama, Krishna Yadavaya Namah, Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namah, Gopal Govindaram Shri Madhusudana, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita, Shri Chaitanya Shri Advaita Sita, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavad Gita, Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhakta Raghunatha, Shri Bhagavan Bhakta Dasa Raghunatha, Hari Hari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Jaya Narasimha Nara Hari Jaya Nara Hari Jaya Nara Jaya 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 Prabhupada Nitai Goranga Jaya Nitai Goranga Jaya Nitai Goranga Jaya Nitai Goranga Jaya Jaya Pralamara Jaya Pralamara Jaya Pralamara Jaya Pralamara Jaya Namaste Narasimhaya. Oh, sorry, sir. Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Satya Punamatam Rajam Vishwasanya Vijayate Sarida Vidyajam Yoram Viyataika Vidyatave Visaya Sangare Dhamati Vijayati Lomamai Sidumati Tatijita Tatina Samsade Krishna Baladev Kore Bhara Jiva Jai Swam Ramina Dinobai Sena Vitapai Sri Radha Krishna Dunadao Devadato Sri Chaitanya Nitai Bhakti Ki Jai Hare Krishna.
Please take prasadam. Don't miss the prasadam.
जैसे मैं देख रहा हूँ तो ऐसा लग रहा है जैसे भगवान थोड़ा ऊपर देख रहा है, आज देख रहे थोड़ा
Yes, because your mother not the problem is not we can say we don't
take the
This is the problem. Then पूजा ही लोग बैठा है. पूजा you should give it to somebody who is responsible. No, don't give it. If I see it, what does it look? What is it?
It has a face.
Silver black. Silver black. Where did you last see it?
I don't know.
Somewhere around here? Okay, I'll keep an eye out. Where will you be if I find it?
So what's your name?
What's your name?
Thank you.
What is the status? And then I will let you know that you last few. And then I will give her
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram
I know there are a lot of international people here. Maybe I can make them first. I'm going to 2 months. Nice to talk. I'm down how it's नहीं तो ब्लैक सिमिलर मैंने भी सीखना है मेरा ब्लू में या
मैंने नीचे पूछा ना तो मैं कर सकता हूँ मेरा भी ये पैर में मेरा भी यही हो गया
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु हरे कृष्ण और उसमें मैं याद रखना
bunch of related something. These covers from yesterday, people were asking somehow. What they said was, it has to be cleared, the military has to be separated. Yes, I don't have it in the. There is no exact reference made and anything else. For celebrate knowledge and then move the ornament. And I ate because my sugar went down. And if you can eat those flowers, so you know that you get it, then there is no sugar. I can eat it. Yes. Yes. Otherwise, I would give this name.
Beautiful. I just visited Nepal. Maybe you have heard about Pashupatinath. Yes, I have. I went there this time. Oh my God. I saw TV telling you. I went there temple there. TV is and when I was in the temple, you know, I say Shivji, right? I don't know what, you know, told me there, what was there. I didn't have any plan, but I actually went to see my mom. She was back to cancer last year, and so her body is bad. That I went to see my mom. So when I went, and I just took my ticket. In the station, I was thinking, why am I? And then I stepped into the hotel. He was entering at the same time when I entered. And at that time, he was like, he takes it. He put
అర్చన అవుతుందా ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా సర్వీసెస్ అర్చన చేస్తారు
అవి ఇక్కడ పెట్టేస్తాం. This goes inside the PC. This one will open the closet. There on the corner, on the right side is all the bags. It's pinned. This table also will go there. అక్కడ ఆల్రెడీ రెండు ఉన్నాయి వాల్ వేర్ ఇస్ సంబడి ఫర్ అర్చన ఎవరు అర్చన ప్లేట్ అయితే okay plate I have one plate donation you can put it now. Prakriti.
You have to go. Your wife's calling you. What you're doing is oh, yeah. You gotta move. Yeah. So you're part of